Reflecting on the things I want from life, I have found this. I want to feel peaceful while working to finance my dreams. I don't want anymore to end up in this cycle where I'm working super hard, feeling tired and overwhelmed, and then I have to spend all my free time just trying to recover from that. In this video, I will share how I was able to break free from that cycle and achieve the balance that I was so much seeking by following my own system that has helped me to work without feeling that burnout or crazy stress and overwhelm. I don't know if filming here out in nature is the best when talking about this work topic. Maybe I should have been in an office or something, but I hope it's fine. A few years ago, which now seems for me at least a lifetime ago, I was working full-time in the military base here next to my city. Now it sounds very weird to think about me working in the military, thinking about all the values I have and all the values that are associated with that. But I was every morning waking up 6:30, commuting there, and it was sucking all the energy that I had because I didn't really get the rest that I needed to recover from that. And my social life was as well pretty minimal. I didn't have any hobbies. And once I figured out that that's not the path that I want to have in my life, I went to the other extreme. So I went to volunteering, a place where actually I couldn't get any responsibility and my days were full of boredom. I felt so useless in my life, something that I hadn't felt basically ever. And this era of my life, I would say, is like the top 2 most depressing as well. And I can understand why. I couldn't fulfill like the purpose in my life to the level that I really wanted to. Then from there, I wanted to go more towards the middle side of this spectrum, but neither of the extremes, but I actually went a little bit too far back to the other extreme. I was working 9 to 5 and then using my free time to study business. But here the difference was that I had the self-awareness from before and I had a lot of good habits as well, which I will share in this video too. But then I had some bad habits like needing to be productive every minute, or I'm not actually sure if that's more a habit or like a mindset, but I was feeling excited but also stressed at the same time because I was pushing myself maybe too hard. And the lessons that I learned from that period of my life actually led me here, where I believe that I have now reached the balance. I feel the purpose, I feel the peace, but still this excitement, this fire inside of me to do whatever I am doing. In the past couple of weeks, I've gotten some comments asking me if I work full time. So the answer to that is that I don't really know. Maybe. These days, I don't even count the hours that I work. I don't really care which day of the week it is. And I see this as a good sign because I'm not living for the weekend anymore. I can appreciate this day, today, and make the most out of it. I think some days I work like 4 to 5 hours, but then definitely I have some days where I work like 10 to 12 hours. It's part of this entrepreneur lifestyle, but the tips that I will share, they are not related to or require this lifestyle that I am having. The path to living a simple and slow life while working, in my opinion, consists of 2 things, the what and the how. And this is where we enter my system. I cannot tell you exactly, of course, what is the job for you, what is the work that you should do. But I will give you 4 different green flags that are kind of like signals if that is suitable for you. If that's a place where you should stay longer, a career path that you should pursue, or if it's something that you should consider changing to something else. The first one is that the passage of time disappears. While you are working, you get into this flow state and you forget what is around you. You are really focused on that task at hand and to produce that quality work. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about here. And of course, there are ways to get into this flow, but if you get there automatically, that's a very, very good sign. The second green flag is that your work brings out the best in you, not the worst. If your work makes you feel really frustrated or angry every single day, I think it's good to, of course, reflect on the things why this is happening, but perhaps if you cannot change those things, to reconsider the work. Not every single day of your work needs to be amazing and you feel good, but it shouldn't deplete you mentally and physically every day. Something that I was talking about when starting this video, what happened to me. I hope I had like a camera lens that I could zoom in on these birds. They're like these little balls sitting on the branches of these trees. Amazing. The third one is that your work is aligned with your talents, passions, or interests. For me, it took years to find out what is really my passion and what is not. So this is a lot of trial and error. But if that excites you, inspires you even a little bit, the theme, the topic, field where you're working in, that's a good sign. And the last green flag for this what side of things is that your work supports the lifestyle that you want to have. I actually have some pretty good tools in my free Clear the Noise challenge to get this self-awareness about the lifestyle that you want to have, and then some tips to feel more peaceful in your daily life. You can find the link to that in the description. It's completely free of charge. And yes, I have had in my life jobs that didn't fit any of these green flags. Sometimes you're in a position where you cannot just choose, but keep this in mind for the long term. And also remember that even if your job would fit all of these four, still, you can feel stressed and overwhelmed, especially if you are not doing the how well, which we will talk about next. For me, the how starts with the mindset. I think of myself like I'm a professional athlete when it comes to work. I need to take pauses between my reps. So this, of course, means breaks, pauses, that you are not working 8 hours straight. Hopefully you have as well breaks in your work, in your job. I think it's a legal requirement, so would be weird if not, but make sure that you take some breaks. Second thing, I need days that are meant completely for rest. I'm not working usually during the weekends, or if for a reason or another I am, then I'm taking some extra days off after that. You need to recharge. And the third is that I have these deload weeks every 2 months. So basically I have a week where my main focus is not the work. I know that I'm not putting 100% of myself in there. Maybe I'm putting 90, maybe 80, maybe 70. It kind of depends. But the main point here is that mentally I don't have to be on my A game. I don't put so much pressure on myself, because if I always try to put 100% in, at some point I will just run out of the inspiration, the creativity and energy to do it on that level. And could be that sometimes I even get more done during this week than I would normally, but actually it's more like a mental thing, so a feeling rather than how much I'm actually working. And then certainly some longer holidays, like once or twice a year. Christmas holiday, for example, super important. The second part of this mindset is the idea of consistency over hard work. I'm not pushing myself to the limits every single day. I'm trying to work smart and understand that I could always do more, but still I live with this feeling that I could have continued. For sure I could have done more today, but I don't necessarily have to. And this doesn't mean that you cannot produce quality. I think that how you do anything is how you do everything. But pushing yourself to the absolute limits should be, in my opinion, more like an exception than a rule. So don't sweat the small stuff and always try to be perfect. I think that being reliable and working smart, so sometimes seeing the big picture, is really important. Then comes self-awareness. Learn when you have the most energy during 25 hours. Where do you get that extra hour in your day? During the 24 hours. For me, this is usually between 10 o'clock in the morning and 1 p.m. in the afternoon. This is the time to do the most important tasks that requires the most mental energy. So learn that for you. And also, second thing to learn when you need a break. I know there are jobs where you cannot decide exactly when to take a break and how long it is, so this goes kind of for those people that can. To find this, you don't need to look at the clock. You need to observe how you feel mentally and physically. I take shorter breaks every hour, so for example, I work 50 minutes and then take 10-minute breaks, and then I want a longer lunch break that is usually at least 30 minutes. So get started, be present and get into flow. And then observe when that flow state starts to fade away to brain fog or some mental resistance, and then it's definitely a time to take the break. The next building block is action, so more habits while you are working. And the first one is to avoid distractions and get a better focus. How you choose your work environment is really, really important. If you are constantly distracted by a lot of noise, a lot of people around you, a lot of notifications or other things, it's super hard to get into that flow and be focused. Like, I have to admit, currently, right now, I'm having a little bit difficulties to focus producing this video because of all the birds chirping, but I'm not complaining. I chose this spot and I enjoy to be here. But that is just an example. Some other tips are, of course, putting your phone away or on silent and then just trying to single task in one thing and not trying to do 5 different things at the same time. An important thing here is to be mindful and present in whatever you are doing. If you are constantly wishing that you were doing something else, or you wish that the workday was done already, the resistance just makes it harder. Most likely it's your choice to be there and you could change your job if you wanted to. So be mindful of how you're talking about your work, about your job. Try to find the gratitude. And then the last but really important and super underrated building block of your work life is the rest. What do you do outside of work? So part of this system that I use is to do things that help me recover while I'm not working. This mindset of taking the rest as seriously as the work itself. And how I do this, some examples are morning routine, eating properly, evening routine, sleeping properly, and then setting some boundaries like not working during the weekends, putting the emails off and your phone off, not answering to any colleague who is trying to reach you during the weekend, things like that. Try out some of these parts of my system yourself if they would work for you as well, and make sure to check the free Clear to Noise challenge. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one.